Welcome back to Games Revealed. I'm James and also the Brink, and we are one community. Today, we are finally doing it. We're going to be reviewing the Steam Deck right here. I know it's not the Steam Deck 2. It's been so long since it came out, better half of the year. And in a way, I'm glad I waited so long. I know exactly the best way to describe the deck. It's the perfect companion for your time away from your main love, that bitchin' PC that you have. While there are way more powerful PCs, the Steam Deck is portable, comfortable, and affordable. It's the perfect machine to remember all those gaming moments you experienced in the past 10 plus years and continue to experience into the future. Now, before we get into the review and determine if this is the right device for you, make sure to like, subscribe, and bash that bell with your crowbar if this is any help to you. And now let's get into the first thing, which I think is the most important thing. It's the games. It's all about the games with these devices, right? It is a portable console like the Switch, but so much more. The games are the highlight of this device, especially if you're coming from the console world. You will almost always be able to play your games on your next PC. No next-gen console hassle like with the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, or the N64, NES, or all these other emulated games that you can do on the Steam Deck, but didn't have to pay a premium price on the Switch. None of that hassle. The only hassle is setting up the emulation. The option for better visuals over systems like the Nintendo Switch is also a great win for something like the Steam Deck and games. Then you get a comprehensive legacy gaming library. So when you buy a PC, you are open to thousands of games right off the bat. There's a reason why I have been a PC gamer for so many years. I do love my consoles, but this is a huge win for having a Steam Deck, and it gets you your foot in the door if you've not been PC gaming for a while to start collecting those games and then maybe upgrade to a big master PC. And to top it off, games are always on sale at Fanatical, Green Man Gaming, and Steam. Plus, free games at the Epic Store if you really keep your eye out there. You will never be without a game to play. While we're on the topic of games, we will get into game performance later on. For now, though, just so you know, the games run great on it, but there are a few games that could be improved. Nonetheless, you're going to have a much bigger library than anything else you're going to get besides a PC itself, which will run about everything, except for a couple exclusive games on the Switch and the PS5. And like with PlayStation, they are releasing more and more of their exclusives onto Steam, which is a huge win for us. So eventually, it's going to be the Switch that's left, and you can emulate the Switch. So we're close to having everything on the PC, which is a beautiful thing. A huge win, I think, for the Steam Deck. Now, the deck's visuals don't really stand out like the iNeo Neo 2 or the One X Player 2. I do like the design, and it does leave a little for wanting. Not exciting, but you know what? That's not necessarily a bad thing. I came here to play games, not to showcase this as art. Until you notice the trackpads, then you start to realize, hey, you know what? Once I actually start holding this and start playing with it, then you realize the design really matters with the way it feels and with the way it functions. So the buttons are not too mushy. They have the right amount of give, and I really do like the way everything actuates in it. Everything just seems to respond very well. Plus, it has 4 buttons on the back, making it essentially a pro controller. The back buttons can be mapped to multiple different functions and multiple different things. They don't get in the way of playing games. I thought I was going to be accidentally pressing them during gameplay, and I do not. Now, I'm a fan of the deck's black color, but it's nice to have a change of color every once in a while and a change of feel. With the deck, you're able to do that because there's a lot of skins out there. There's a lot of accessories, whether it be cases and other things out there to change the feel, the look, and the way that you present your deck. So honestly, the way it looks is fine because you can modify it to make it look however you want. While the visuals of the deck's exterior leaves a little for wanting, but the gamepad being pretty amazing, the sponsor of today's video has both. Looks great, and it also functions amazingly. This video is sponsored by Ugreen. I have loved using their 140 watt charger with my MacBook Pro and docked Steam Deck at the same time. So I was excited to find out they sent me a gift right here in this box that includes a bunch of goodies to charge my devices. Let's dive in. We have the Ugreen 100 watt Nexo charging station, the Ugreen 65 watt DigiNest Cube power strip, the Lightning to USB-C cable. It has USB-C to USB cable and they're braided. We have the Ugreen USB-C 4K hub. Looks like they read my mind on what I need to help my power-hungry desk. With 7 ports, I organized the mess that is my desk with the DigiNest Cube 65-watt charging station. With all the devices I test, taming the charging jungle is hard, but now I look like I have my life together with this tidy space-saving charger. Powered by the GAN 3 chip, the DigiNest Cube USB-C charger delivers 65 watts of high-speed power to the 2022 13-inch MacBook Air, fully charging it in less than 1.5 hours, all while giving you peace of mind with overload, overcurrent, and ground protection, which is just the start of the many security features that are included. Ugreen powers up your holiday season, so make sure to check out the links below in the description to save up to 40% off your charging needs. Now, with all that being stacked up, the games, the specs, everything, we're looking pretty good. But let's compare this to the competitors now, which did not exist when the Steam Deck came out, are the Neo 2, Iron Loki, and Max, GBD Win 4, and the One X Player 2. So the competition has to compensate for that high APU power drain with a bigger battery, which can add to the weight and cost of the device. They do have a more powerful APU and a better design than the deck, in my opinion, visually. When it comes to the way it feels, even though I haven't tried the Neo 2, I've tried similar devices, and I will have to say I still prefer the way the button layout on the Steam Deck is. They also come with better power adapters and are modular and offer more watts, meaning I can swap the cords out and use it with multiple devices. It's a little bit more ugreen friendly, and it's my preferred method. Now, the power adapter that comes with the Steam Deck does offer really good support for its flexibility, meaning like it's designed to bend and all that and not break off. I still would prefer to be able to have higher watts and have maybe an extra slot in there to charge additional devices. The 6800U does beat the deck in most benchmarks that I've seen, but it is on Windows. I do love SteamOS. I want to see what those other devices can do with SteamOS. Now, to note, these competitors do have to depend on third-party software that they usually write to emulate a console-like experience that you just get natively out of the box with a Steam OS, where when you bring up SteamOS, you go through and everything's really controller and touch-friendly. And once you get in, you can just play your games and really no hassle. On the flip side, Windows with these competitors does require additional steps, and the third-party software is always wanting. I've always had issues using it. Now, I'm sure that will smooth out in time, but we'll see. Now, I will say this, that one of the most important things is feel for me when playing my games and being able to play them well enough. So while the competitors can play them at a higher frame rate, which is really important to me, I'm not going to continue playing it even if it's an amazing frame rate, because I'll just go to my main PC or my laptop if they don't feel great. The gamepad does feel better on the Steam Deck. While there's plenty of competition, and the competition does performance really well, the deck is leagues ahead in support, software with SteamOS, comfort, and cost. I don't think you're going to get a better deal with all those things taken into account. While the specs are pretty impressive, especially when it first came out, after almost a year, they do tend to wane in a couple of areas. One of them being the APU. With newer devices like the Neo 2 and the Loki Max coming out with that 6800 APU, it definitely shows that the deck has a little bit of a performance step back than these other devices coming out. That being said, I will still say a lot of the stuff that you're going to get with the deck for that price to performance is just going to be killer. First up, the AMD APU CPU is a Zen 2 4-core 8-thread with up to 448 G-flops, while the GPU portion of the APU has 8 RDNA 2 compute units with a total of 1.6 teraflops of performance, which is near the performance of the PlayStation 4. Then your APU power limit is between 4 and 15 watts. Then you get 16 gigs of RAM, which is plenty for this device. Anything more, I think, is a little overkill at this point, and anything less, you're going to hit bottlenecks there. Then the storage options, I recommend getting the 256 or 512, or if you don't mind opening up your deck, get the 64 gig and get yourself a bigger drive and upgrade it yourself and save some money. Then the display is a 1280 by 800 pixel with a 16:10 aspect ratio with a 7-inch LCD screen and 60 hertz refresh rate that can be limited, which is a huge plus for this. and then it's touch enabled. Now, as far as the other parts of it, it's pretty standard across the board, like you'd find on a phone for the most part, except for a SIM card. You're not going to be able to get 4G on this thing. The power supply it comes with is a 45-watt USB-C power supply, and the battery is a 40-watt that can do about 2 to 8 hours of gameplay. Then it's running SteamOS 3, an Arch-based Linux operating system with the KDE Plasma. So when you go into desktop mode, you're going to have a nice little desktop experience similar to Windows. Now, I will say the most notable parts of this, past that specs in the hardware, is it's easy to open, fix, and modify. There's a lot of people that have modified fans and other pieces to the back of the deck, including an external GPU, which is not recommended, but you can still do it. You can put Windows on it, which is an okay experience, but if you want to play Fortnite or Destiny 2, then you'll need to use Windows due to anti-cheat for those games not being supported for Linux and Proton, and the devs say they will not be supporting it anytime into the future. Now let's get into the performance side of things. Now this is about the Steam Deck, not the competition, and so I'm going to mainly focus on the Steam Deck and what it does well in this. Starting up, the Steam Deck is a beast. It will take on almost any game released in the past 20 years. As for newer games, most will run fine, but I do think there are some risks of hitting a wall in 2023, where some games just won't play as well as I would like, and they struggle to reach those 30 frames per second at a steady pace. The sweet spot for most games is having the FPS and the refresh rate locked at 40 FPS on the Steam Deck, and refresh rate locking is one of the things that competitors tend to lack, which can help save battery life. Now let's check out some benchmarks just to see what you can expect performance-wise and some gameplay so that you get a good idea of how this goes. Cyberpunk 2077 does have better performance now than it did when the deck first released. So the Neo 2 kind of does beat it quite a bit, and it's honestly a little bit of a bloodbath. The Neo 2 averages on the Steam Deck preset 60 frames per second with FSR for the win, which did help in the long run. A quick thing on FSR, it will help increase the performance while still maintaining a similar visual aspect. So your games won't deteriorate in its visuals, but your performance will go up, which is really important when it comes to portable gaming. The Steam Deck on average with the Steam Deck settings gets about 40 frames per second, but I will say it jumps around a lot. While it's very playable, it's very fun on the deck, you do lose enough visuals to where I do prefer this on the PC itself. Now let's get into Callisto Protocol. This is one that actually doesn't look too bad, but it's pretty dark on the deck, and it does not run amazing unless you turn everything down to low, but you still maintain some good visuals on the go with this, but you have to lock it in at 30 frames per second. And with this game's action, it can be a little bit more difficult than if you could have it up a little bit higher to hit some of those quick action moments. Next up, we have Horizon Zero Dawn. This game was playable since day one. It looks good on it. It plays good on it, and some of the settings you can set on this can actually beat the PlayStation 4. Now, the Horizon Zero Dawn experience can be a little jumpy. I think it can run a little bit better on your SSD as opposed to the SD card. You're going to be getting on the medium settings, which is similar to the PlayStation 4, on average 40 frames per second, maybe 45. Then if you up that to high, maybe you can get about 30, 35, which puts it over the PlayStation 4, so you're beating the PlayStation 4 out. Next up is Doom Eternal. You can lock that FPS in at 60, and you can pump those graphics up pretty high, have 60 frames, and be able to rock out to the music while you destroy demons in Doom Eternal. It is a lot of fun, and honestly, it's one of the games on my high recommended list of playing on the deck if you don't mind playing first-person shooters with a controller. Me, I am a little bit more of a fan on the mouse and keyboard, a lot of it, and I still enjoyed it with the controller setup. It's highly optimized and plays great on the deck. Last but not least on my list, if you're new to the console, if you're new to PC gaming, if you have not played Half-Life 1, Half-Life 2 are amazing. They play really well on the deck. Half-Life 1 doesn't have full support technically for the controllers, but once you get it set up, it works pretty well. Half-Life 2, on the other hand, has native controller support, and it plays great on the deck with 60 frames. It doesn't even activate the fan most of the time, and you can get about 5 hours of gameplay out of this thing. While it is a much older game, if you want a game that's going to last a long time on an airplane, Half-Life 2 is one of those. So make sure to go check out the Half-Life series, as they do play really well, really long on the deck. And then let's get to the conclusion, the real thing that matters, the decisions you have to make after watching this video. If you have not bought a Steam Deck yet or are planning to buy one, or if you have one already, you might learn a couple of things from this review. First up, the deck is a generational device, and we will see new decks in the future, and this one will do just fine for the next 2 years if you don't always play the most graphically intense games. Now, while it will play fine for the next few years, I will have to say, Valve, if you're watching this review, the screen, battery, and a little performance boost, maybe the 6800U or a modified version of it, should be the focus for the Steam Deck too, as the deck can play almost any demanding game like the Callisto Protocol, but still fall short at times. As for the software, the anti-cheat will get in the way and will hopefully be fixed soon, but don't hold your breath anytime soon, so not every game is going to be playable for a while. Most games will, though. The price to performance for what you get in this little large device can't be beat and will take a while for anything else to match it until I believe the Steam Deck 2 comes out or a cheaper version of the Neo 2 and these other devices come out. They do get pretty close, but like I said, there is a lot more to this than just performance. It really sums up my love for this device and the direction Valve is going with SteamOS, and with their amazing support, I think we will still have so much more to see in the years to come from this device, both between performance tweaks and new software and new announcements about accessories, decks. My recommendation to you guys is, if you are a performance demon and that is your main concern, then you might want to check out the Neo 2 or the Loki Max, as those are going to perform better than the Steam Deck. For a balanced option, the Steam Deck is the only handheld PC gaming device I can completely recommend right now, as I have not tested the Neo 2 or the Loki Max, and I have tested other devices similar to the Steam Deck. I definitely recommend the deck. Pick this bad boy up if you're a gamer on the go, need a companion in bed, or want to try out PC gaming and want a console-like experience to start your journey. And then, as always, I add little bonuses into these videos. Bonus 1, make sure to go check out Aperture Desk Job right when you get your deck. If you have not checked it out yet and you have a deck, make sure to do that. And Hades is an amazing game, and it plays great on the deck. Also, check out my deck revealed project. It will be in the description below. It is a project that I'm working on that will be released shortly. Unless you've watched this in the future, then it might be out already. And it will help add additional features and apps that are just missing from the deck. With that being said, thanks for watching this review video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. What are your favorite parts of the deck? What are your least favorite parts of the deck? Do you recommend the deck, or is that 6800U series looking pretty good, that APU? I want to know what you think. And then also check out the description below for all the goodies, including accessories. So if you're new to the deck, there are some recommended accessories in that description below. If you're new to the deck, you can check out my tips video. Or if you are a hardcore Steam Deck player and want more content, you can watch my streams that are weekly on Wednesdays, or just listen to them as a podcast. Thank you guys for watching. Check out those videos, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out. Later.